two labels, back and front, and the art on the front. I've got the cute old olive ribbon and some of those little bells, which I think are just adorable, are strung and connected to the little bow. So let's get started. I'll show you how I made the box. I'm going to need these elements. I'll put my labels off to the side. By the way, I will have the measurements over on the blog right after I finish up and I download this video. I'll post it on the blog, which is annemariepalmerin.com. You can go get the PDF, get the measurements right here to help you out in creating the box. I'm telling you, it's really simple. You're going to want to make multiples of these. Those little hand sanitizer bottles are like $2, less than $2 a piece. So they make a nice little gift, especially when you present it in a pretty box like that. So you'll be able to go grab that PDF off the blog. I'm going to start with my 8.5 by 11 cardstock in Night of Navy. I am going to use my favorite cutting tool, the Stampin' Trimmer. It has the cutting blade, the scoring blade right on it. It's got all the measurements, and I'll give you one tip. Somebody noticed when they used my trimmer what I've added to it to make it even easier for myself. So there are measurements up at the top. It goes up to 6 inches. If you need to extend, and we will for this project, you just swing that arm wide open. It extends all the way up to 17 inches, which is awesome when you're doing a scrapbook page. So you've got your measurements along the top. You have measurements at the bottom as well, and you have measurements coming down the side. So here's my tip. The measurements coming down the side are really difficult to read. What I've done to help myself out, not sure if you can see, you can clearly see my numbers here. And that is because I added a tiny strip of whisper white paper about 1/4 inch thick, and I went all the way from the 0 to the 11. So it'll go down as far as 11 here. And it helps me read the digits on the ruler coming down the paper. So that's going to be really helpful. The next thing I want to do is remind you there are 2 blades on the trimmer. The lighter one is for scoring and the darker one is for cutting. What I like to do is push my cutting blade out of the way until I need it so that I don't accidentally reach for it. And remember, I speak from experience when I try to give you tips. Most of the time it's because I learned the hard way and I'm trying to help you from having to learn the same way. Having said that, you would think that I would not make that mistake again, but I do make it often enough. All right, so what I'm going to do is cut my paper. It's the 8.5 by 11. I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches across the top. So I'm just going to bring my paper over to the 4-inch mark. And really nice, I can make sure it's not crooked and that it's aligned just right. I can check my guidelines on the paper trimmer. I'm going to close that up. And 4 inches, I'm going to slice that cut. Don't need that second piece. I can actually get 2 boxes from the one 8.5 by 11. So I don't know, what do you think? Would you make boxes like this? Is this something that you like to do, or do you find boxes hard to construct? I know when I first started making boxes, I could not wrap my brain around all the folding and scoring and adhering. But once I did a few, I think I got the basic box construction down and it became a lot easier. So I love making the boxes, simple boxes, not too complicated. So 4 across. Now I'm going to cut it to 7.5 inches long. So right up to the 7.5 inch line. I'm going to slice that off. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, I am going to score. So I'm going to push that cutting blade out of the way. On the long side, I'm going to score at 3 1/4. So I'm just bringing it up to the 3 1/4 inch mark. I am going to score. And then I'm going to push the paper along to 4 1/4. So 3 1/4, 4 1/4. And I'm done on the long side. Now I'm going to rotate it. And I am going to score on the 1-inch line on both sides. So I'm coming over and I'm looking to the right. There's my 1-inch line there. I'm just going to push that paper over to that 1-inch line. There. And I'm going to just flip it, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. So 1 inch on this side as well. And I am now done cutting and scoring. Whoops. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fold and score. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to fold on all scores and burnish. All scores, horizontal, vertical, coming up. I'm telling you, this box is so simple. And I can see it being made in lots of patterns, lots of colors. You can try to coordinate the scent or the name of the hand sanitizer along with the color schemes, the theme, and make a really sweet gift. So now I'm going to come in, I'm going to get my paper snips, and I am going to cut on these horizontal lines up to that vertical score line. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to make a 1-inch snip up to that score line right on the 3 1/4 inch score and on the 4 1/4 inch score. So all I'm doing is making that little flap. This will be the base of the box. And I always like to trim out, just kind of give a little sliver or a little dart on there. Peel that off on all, I shouldn't say on all flaps, just the 2 main flaps. Now I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So here we go. And let's see. I am making, if you just joined me, I am making a mini Sani gift box using the Curvy Celebrations, which is a really sweet sneak peek set. It's available now, but it's also going to carry through to the next mini, which begins January 4th. All right, here we go. And if you are a demo, and I know I have a couple of demos watching, if you are a demo, we have already, or some of us, if we attended on stage at home, we already got some of the product from the new mini catalog. I got my order a couple of days ago. I absolutely love almost everything that we were able to pre-order. I ordered, and I'm just waiting for December 1st now when I get to order so many of the other pretty new sets. All right, so now I've got the foundation of my box here. I've got the 2 flaps. These will be the base of the box. These are the front sides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply some adhesive, and I'm going to use my tear and tape. Works really easily, and it's nice and strong. And as it says, you just tear it and tape it. So that means you don't even have to get the scissors out, no trimming, and you're not fighting with it like you do with that sturdier tape that has the red backing. I was always in a tangle with that red tape. It's sturdy, it's great, but I always struggled with it. All right, so now that's going to be my base. I'm going to need a little bit of adhesive on a couple of the panels. So I'm just going to flip this over on the inside of the box. So on the inside, I'm going to put some adhesive coming up the sides here. And again, the tear and tape. So just go ahead and place that down. And I just like to use my favorite Neiman Marcus card for tearing the tape. All right. I picked the night of navy because I wanted to use the trees and have them sparkling in the night, like a beautiful winter night. And that brightly gleaming has this really pretty star paper. It's got those little copper stars all over it. Look at that, how they shimmer so pretty. All right, so I'm now ready, and what I will do to make it even easier on myself, take my bone folder and just burnish this tape right onto the cardstock. That makes it easier to reveal the sticky. And I'm just going to take my snips. Let's see if I can do this. I had my pick-a tool handy. We have been die cutting like crazy, so I have that pick-a tool in another room. All right, so I've got that revealed. I'm going to pull these two flaps up, and I'm going to bring the left side up perpendicular and construct the two sides to the box. Just secure that. All right, so that's what it looks like so far. Next, I'm going to peel off the side panels. And bring that up. So I'm making the little box construction. It's going to be about 1 inch deep and what is it, 2 inches wide. So there we go. And that's how the mini Sani bottle fits right in there. So now I'm going to decorate it. Already it's a cute little box. I'm going to bring in my 2 celebration labels, and I am going to apply them or adhere them to the front and the back. And so what I did, I actually used my Tombow multi-purpose glue. Let's see if I can fix this a little bit. I'm going to bring this in. So this has got to be the easiest box, I think. There's no flap, there's no lid, no struggling whatsoever. Those little labels just make it really fancy. There we go. I'm going to put it right in the center, and I have the little notches that'll be my guidelines, so that goes right in the middle. And I'm just kind of eyeballing. Make sure it's on there straight. I am going to flip it and do the same on the other side. And I'm just going to add some liquid glue here. And here we go. So this week I had a very productive week. I had made a challenge for myself to not let Thanksgiving slip by without celebrating it. I know I'm not going to see a lot of friends and family at Thanksgiving, so I am planning on putting a lot of Thanksgiving Day gratitude cards in the mail, and I actually made all my Thanksgiving cards this week, so I'm pretty pleased about that. All right, there's my basic box. The next is to kind of pretty this up a little bit. I'm going to put my mini label, that's the smallest label here, and I am going to be doing some stamping. So I'm going to bring in the tree stamp, and I think I mentioned at the beginning of this that these trees are like my favorite element on the Christmas set. It's a wide slopey hill of lots of trees. I am going to be stamping just a snippet of the trees onto my label, and I'm going to be using just my Tombow black, sorry, not my Tombow, my my Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. There we go. And I just need to ink up a tiny bit of it because my label's pretty small. So I'm going to come in here, let's see, over at this area. And you can see it's a photopolymer stamp set, which means I've got my piercing mat underneath to give it some cush. And I'm just going to stamp down. Now I'm kind of eyeballing it because I want to have enough space down at the bottom to stamp my Merry Christmas greeting. So there we go. There's my little hill of pine trees. Next, I'm going to stamp my greeting, which is also from the stamp set. It's a really pretty tiny Merry Christmas with a serif font, all caps. It fits perfectly on this little celebrations label, and I just want to make sure I ink up nicely. There we go. Trying to get that nice and even across there. Voila. Now I want to add a little bit of color. I want it to be kind of like a snowy, wintry day. And what I've done is sponge the background. So I don't want to have any coloring over on this snowy hill. So I'm just going to take some Post-it notes and adhere it right here along the slope of the snow. So what I'm doing is making a mask. I'm going to mask off the snowy slope here. I don't want to color that. And I'm going to create that sky kind of wintry, snowy background with 3 different blues. I've got a very light, watery pool party. I've got a light balmy blue, and then I've got misty moonlight. And I have wedges of sponges for each of those colors. So I'm gonna bring in, starting with my pool party. I'm gonna take my piercing mat out from there. There we go. And what I'm gonna do is just take some color off of this pad. So I've opened up the pad. There we go. I'm gonna sponge, and let's see if I can move this into a better position for me, sideways. I'm gonna take my sponge, I'm gonna ink up the sponge, and before I start on the label, I'm gonna start off on the edge of the paper, and I'm just gonna come in and kind of sponge all around. Not too heavy, this is my lightest color. So I'm just applying a little bit of faint color. First layer, that's pool party. I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna come in with the balmy, oops, I actually started with the balmy blue. That means I've got all over balmy blue color. See, that happens. Okay, let's see. This is now pool party, and let me get a little bit of this coloring on here. And I'm gonna come in with a layer of pool party overall. There we go. Mix that up to create my sky, my snowy, wintry sky. There we go. And my final blue is going to be the darkest, the misty moonlight. And I'm going to come in on the sides, on the top, on the edges. So not a lot, just in through the sides here. So it kind of looks like threatening skies. And you can add as much as you want, as dark as you want to go. There we go, I've got my background now. I've created my wintry sky. What do you think? So the sponging is one of my favorite ways to get overall background color on. And if you dedicate a wedge to each color, it should work really easily. I am going to add my little pine boughs there. So I'm going to bring in, it's like a swag of pine leaves off there, and I'm just gonna have them peeking in at the top of the label. So let's see, right up here. And then some there. There we go. And I'm gonna add a little bit of color to those pine trees with, let's see if I have my Stampin' Blend handy. I'm just using one Stampin' Blend. I picked the light Mossy Meadow, and I'm gonna use the tip tool, almost like a pen, and I'm gonna just come in and add the Mossy Meadow to the trees. They almost look like a little V, just up and down, really easily. Colors in. So this is really simple coloring with the pen tip. Comes in so easy. There we go. Just a little bit of color on that label. Merry Christmas. I am going to adhere that to my box with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm just gonna get to my larger ones, and I think I'm gonna put about 4 of them on the back here. There we go. This gives a little more dimension to your project. I'm gonna bring it in, put it right in the center here. And I'm gonna bring in my Old Olive ribbon. This happens to come from the Ornate Garden ribbon combo. So you get the Old Olive, and I believe the other spool is Terracotta Tile. So really pretty brick-like color. I'm just gonna make a bow with some long tails. Try that again. Just loop it. And I like to make the bow before I cut it. That way I don't waste as much ribbon. There we go. Nice long loops, long tails. I'm going to get my ribbon scissors to trim up the edge. And I know they're my ribbon scissors because I've actually got a ribbon on there. Look at that, I've got inky hands all over. That tells you what I've been doing today. There we go. And I am going to next, I'm going to use a glue dot. Sorry for reaching right in front of you. Just 1 or 2 glue dots here. And I'm going to slip it right to the very top of the label. And I'm going to bring in my bells, and I'm looking around wondering where my linen thread is. Where is the linen thread? How can that be? I know I had it here earlier. These are the Jingle Bells. They are in the Holiday Mini, and you get a little pack of 24. I think they're like $5. They're pretty reasonable. I'm just going to pull a brassy one and a red one. And I'm going to loop them on to a length of the linen thread. And again, I'm going to want to tie a bow, so I'm going to cut enough to give me some wiggle room in here. Just going to loop them through. They have the nice little loop right here, so you can string the bells in right through. There we go. And I'm going to slip it right through the old olive bow. So right through here. Let's see if I can get this without too much of a struggle here. Trying to keep it on the workspace so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to bring it into the center, and I'm going to be tying a little bow as well with the linen thread. Putting it right in the center here. There we go. Tie a pretty little bow as well. There we go. And I can trim off the excess now. So cute, so sweet. All right, so let me trim off the long tails here. There we go. And I think I want to trim off just a tiny bit of that old olive ribbon. And there you go. There's your mini Sani gift box for Christmas using the Curvy Celebrations. Really easy to make up. Remember, I have the PDF with the measurements over on the blog, or I will have it over on the blog. Just give me a few minutes to upload the video. This is what it's going to look like. It'll give you the supplies and the measurements over on the blog. If you are interested in the Curvy Celebrations, you can order it now. I will put the link up on this above this video so you can have a look at the Curvy Celebrations. It does make some really pretty cards as well. For this month's club, I've used it for a holiday card. So really pretty. Again, those my favorite trees. I used the die to cut the snowy slope. I used the coordinating paper, the little snowflake stamp. I'm not sure if you can see on camera or not. I added my rhinestones, some pretty gold cord. May your days be merry and bright. What I like about this set, it's also usable for other occasions. So for this, I made a winter birthday card, wishing you the happiest of birthdays. I used that little slope to cut the paper, used the little dotted edge up at the top. This was created in the Seaside Spray coloring, and I added some rhinestones as well. So these cards are part of this month's club. If you would like to place an order for $35 or more, you will receive this month's Card Club cards, completed, stamped. That's 5 cards ready for you to use along with your product, whatever you happen to order. I recommend the Curvy Celebrations, but you can order whatever you like. So there are 2 of the cards, and let's see, I just saw something. Debbie says she wasn't going to get it, but may need to now. There are some really cute cards, and what I love about it, again, is that it's great for holidays for now and for later. The birthdays, the Valentine's Day, those sweet little birds make up really pretty cards. So if you want to get the 5 club cards, these 2 included, just place a $35 or more order. I'll give you the hostess code at the top of the link. If you choose the Curvy Celebrations, you can make the cute little mini Sani gift boxes, but it's up to you. It's totally your prerogative.